We could come back to this. Yeah.
Today's guest embodies the freedom we all deserve to live, love, feel fully in our bodies without shame. Please join me in welcoming our guest, Carrie, to Sensual Rebirth. Carrie, wagwan.
Hello. Thank you. I am excited that I get to be here. Yes, let's talk about
Listen,
love, relationships, and all the sexy things.
I'm gonna tell you
Amen.
something. For you guests who are listening to us, Karen and I was on here bantering before we came on. We had to cut
Right.
the bantering because if we continue, this podcast will not happen. Carrie,
So the truth.
listen, it is what it is. But
Yes.
before we jump into all of this, right, I need you to tell me three quirky things about you because I'm quirky and I know we get along so well, so I know you must be quirky too.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually, I love the question, actually. I'm stepping into this idea of my quirkiness. What would you consider quirky about me? I am, I guess, a total, what they would consider like a nerd. I am constantly absorbing information. Like, I am a Reddit fiend. That is the place. I don't comment, I read though. And
Really?
I probably read about, on average, it's got to be about 50 to 60 pieces of different information a
I've
day.
read
Like,
it.
I'm just constantly, yeah, on Reddit. And I'll go down rabbit holes. So I
Mm.
enjoy things like, right now, one of the things that is closest to my heart is Afghanistan and the girls in Afghanistan, women's rights in
I'm not even
Afghanistan.
surprised about the woman's right in Afghanistan. That even doesn't surprise me that, that's where you would be headed.
Right?
Just you.
That's one. Two, I really love roller skating. That is a passion of mine. I have gold roller skates, girl. I enjoy, oh yeah, my girls know me, my kids know me. I got gold roller skates. Um, and what is another like quirky thing about me? Oh, I really, really, really need soft things. Like, normally, and I didn't do it today, or I didn't bring it, but it's sitting over there. I have a very soft blanket that I put on. I would normally have across me, but you know what it is? I'm wearing fuzzy socks.
That's okay.
That's
That's
the
soft enough.
that
What
that's the fuzzy.
my girl, minute at somebody at her age, I cock up her foot them way there. I'm just
You
saying.
gotta stay agile, girl. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I love it. All right, so let's dive in.
Yes.
Seriously. What's one myth you would love to see disappear when it comes to women's sexuality?
Ah, that good girls don't. That good girls have to be prim and proper, especially as Black women, that we have to be matronly. Especially when you reach a certain age, right? That sex stops after. I This was a rabbit, actually, this was a Reddit hole I went through yesterday, and I am absolutely shocked at how many women disassociate from our bodies at about 40. And I think that the reason why we do this is because we have been taught that we don't deserve pleasure, that pleasure is mostly about what we give, not that we receive. And I'm seeing this narrative coming over and over again. And I think by the time we're about 40, 45, and your body starts going through all the different changes, because perimenopause is real, people, we don't talk enough about that. We then also are tired of having sex, because for most of us, sex is not for us, it's about our partners. And yeah, that's not real. It should be about us. We're
Exactly.
made for it.
You use the word tired of having
Yes.
sex.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference between sex and sensual pleasure?
Ooh. The difference. When you have sex, it is more performative. That is really, you're going through the motions. We're putting things in places, right? And for the most part, with a person, when you're just having sex, it's it's not, we have to be in the space to want to receive pleasure. You want to, we as a woman are the way we work. We have to be ready for that. And what I think happens often is the constructs to which we are allowed, or what society has deemed normal for us to be able to express our sexuality in, which is in these, heteronormative relationships, especially if it's going longer term, that doesn't serve after a while. It becomes very routine. It becomes boring. It becomes, and especially too, if the relationship isn't working well, a lot of women retreat within ourselves. And
Mhm.
so for many of us, when we have sex, we are simply, we disassociate from the process of it, meaning that you are not present. Your body is, but you remove your mind. Now, when you are having a sensual experience, it becomes a full bodied experience of yourself. Because for most women, sex, sensuality, pleasure begins in the mind and it flows into the body. So it's very, very important to know that you have all three, because there are three things you need for a woman to actually come to pleasure, to reach a climax. And those three things are that we need to have, of course, turn on. You need to be, in a situation that allows you to get aroused. Then second, we need to be able to, the time that we need to kind of get to that point is important. And then thirdly, to actually get to climax, we need to be safe to be able to release. And for many of us, that is not the scenario we sit in.
Mm. You have spent plenty. The part that you talk about somebody being safe in their body so they can actually experience that sexual pleasure or that sexual orgasm, right? How can you, or what's your suggestion on telling women over 40 how to start reconnecting with their body? So to
Mhm.
release the things that no longer serve them and the whole fluff and the whole menage, the whole things that men or past ancestry has told them, how can, okay, let me lean back a little bit. How can you advise women to now start reconnecting with their body, to become one with their bodies, especially after going through many years of always constantly giving to others? So now
Yeah.
what would be your suggestion on how to start reconnecting with your body? All of that to say just that.
I love that. It's
You know what?
okay because
In my
but
mind, I have
you
so
gotta
much. You know what I
you
mean?
gotta
I
cook.
have to, but
You
yeah,
gotta cook.
yeah,
That
it has to
as young
cook,
people say,
marinate, the gravy. So the gravy is, how can you tell women how to reconnect with their bodies?
how we have to reconnect is to start touching and accepting what we have. This
What do you mean
body.
touching? Okay, retouching. What does that mean?
Self, I am an advocate. One of the courses that I teach is all about self pleasure. For many women, we have never taken the time to look at our pussies. I'm going to use the word. I'm not sure if it's okay. You can blank it out if you need to. But pussies, we have never taken a chance of really feeling into what that is. How many of us have actually explored our breasts? Because some of us do masturbate, but we'll pull out a toy. I ain't mad at you, pull out the toy, but we do this wham bam, thank you, ma'am type experience. We very rarely do we make love to ourselves. And I would offer that, especially as we have gotten older, we ain't new to this. We are true to it. We have been battle scarred and warriors in this realm of giving and sexuality for others, but very few of us have ever been gentle and loving and know how to pleasure ourselves. And I've often said, I speak to young people as well about this, that if you are, how can you expect somebody else to make love to you if you've never made love to yourself? And that is, it is mental. Like we always talk about loving ourselves, but love your body as well and know how you need to receive pleasure. Most of us don't tell our, like, I know when I have been with men, um, a part of what they enjoy with the experience of me is that I can tell them, move to the left, my clitoris on my left side, which is a thing, by the way, guys. I'm giving you a hot tip. Most women, their clitoris is very, very aroused, more so on the left side of their clitoris. Right? I can tell you how to peel back the folds of my clitoris to where you need to touch me to get pleasure, right?
Mhm.
We also don't focus enough on the ways that women have pleasure. It's not from insertion, it's actually from an outside experience. Most women don't, orgasm from what they call PIV, or penis in vagina sex. We just don't come that way. Most women need clitoral stimulation as well. And
Mhm.
further to it, it probably should happen before.
Mhm.
So for me, I think it's very important that you need to know that. You
Mhm.
need to understand how to do that. If you are going to have a cervical orgasm, like, which is being able to touch the G spot, you also have to understand how that works as well. There's methodology for how you are entered, and how to get to that pleasure. So whether you're with a partner or you're doing it on your own, I think it's important that you can actually mark. It's almost like learning any other job. You got to practice before you know how to be able to do something well. And I always say that pleasure and sex is the same thing. It takes a minute to learn it, and we don't talk enough. We don't make it acceptable enough to be able to be sexy and sensual in our own bodies.
Okay, so beautiful advice, because I know a lot of persons don't even know about the left side, or telling persons this is what I want and this is what I
Yes,
desire, versus just going through the motion, because as you said
yes.
earlier, a lot of sexual activity is performative for the man and not pleasure for the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you mentioned earlier on your Reddit rabbit hole find that a lot of women has become disconnected
Yes,
from sexual pleasure.
yes,
I know that our bodies begin to change because of perimenopause and menopause. You
yes,
know, whatever we're going through, the less estrogen. A lot
100%.
of women don't know, but we also have testosterone. So we're just
Yes,
losing everything all at once. So it's a big shock to the body, right?
very much so.
And a lot of women were just performing for men to keep them because there is like a duty that they're performing for these men, right? So for those women who have been disconnected for their bodies for years, never have an orgasm, but just being very dutiful and only have clitoral orgasm, and they have their toy, as you mentioned, for a quick fix. Use a
Yes,
rose, 5 seconds, good girl, right? Versus being this person and being this wife, or being this sex slave for a man. So they're now saying, you know what, I'm not in the mood,
yep.
right? For those women who don't have no idea what true pleasure is and true person off for themselves, for giving up themselves, as you mentioned, we have no idea how to love ourselves, how to be gentle with ourselves. How is it that we're going to say no to them who has no idea what it is like to start self-pleasuring? So before self-pleasuring, there
Let
has
me
to
tell
be a
you,
step before that. So that's the step that I would love for you to dig in.
here's how I normally ease people in. Very
Mhm.
simple. First step is to run yourself a bath. I run through this in, again, one of my programs, is to run yourself a bath. Give yourself this date night. Plan it. Do not give yourself a couple hours, right? Self pleasure and wellness. We all get our nails done and all of that. This is what this becomes. So run yourself that bath, feel good, put on some sexy music, do all of the things that allow you to relax and feel good. And then once you're done, even in the bathtub, I always say now, I used to say a mirror, but now we're modern, use your phone and just take a look at your pussy. Don't even touch her. Just take a look and feel into that sensation of whatever might be coming up for you. And just say, hey, look at her and talk to her. And it's going to feel really weird, but I'll guarantee you that there's something empowering about spending about 10 minutes just taking this look and associating yourself back to this part of your body that it's been about service, and say thank you for your service. Thank you for all that you've given. You are an ignition of life, right? Come through there. You've maybe had children, maybe you haven't, but this part of your body has been in service to you. And so what you can say is, I'm now being in service back to you, meaning that you can be all, you are free now. I'm letting you go. And just look at her. Enjoy. For me, I've got all kinds of gray hair going on down there. Before I used to shave, I decided I'm not shaving anymore. And so I call her, she's like Silver Fox. And I just look at her, right? And I'm loving it. I truly detail all the folds, all of the parts of her, and instead of, and work through what comes up, because it's gonna feel silly. It's gonna feel weird. And then ask yourself, why does it feel weird? This
Mm-hmm.
is a part of your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you're comfortable with that, then you can maybe move on to the next step.
Oh my God. I just love what you said about the whole mirror thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've told you this story before, but I was never a mirror person
Mm, mhm.
because as a child, you know, I was told that I was conceited because I looked into the mirror. So I was never a mirror person. And I
You're so
believe that
beautiful.
I was so ugly for so many years. I start believing so looking at myself because, you know, thick lips and long neck and no,
And you're gorgeous. And
but this is the thing,
yes,
right? But
right?
this is the thing that people tell you these things to dim your light. And I'm
Yes,
sure just like the vagina, we were told that it was only for procreation,
100%.
not pleasure. So if
Yes.
you have these words and these duties as a woman being subliminally, not only subliminally, but verbally telling you you're just here to satisfy men, for
Yes.
many, many years, you become this program, you know, take my clothes off, lie down, open my leg, make noise. The noise is not for me, but it's for him because he likes hearing these noises. Let's squirt.
Yep.
The squirting is not for me, but it's for these men. The fluid
Yes.
does something to them. I'm not having an orgasm though, but I'm going to do it just because I want him to feel good. And
Absolutely.
meanwhile, you're here when he's gone or fall asleep, you're like, oh my God, the shame and the guilt because he's having so much fun and his toes are all over the place and you're pretending and you're bucking your, and keep in mind, we're not saying every woman.
Yes. This
Majority.
is not every woman.
Okay, because I don't want you to say, oh, I'm not like that. I'm not talking for those women who are not like that. But this message is for those women who are uncomfortable in their bodies, who have disconnected with their body for so many years, right? So I love what you said in terms of, you know, reintroducing you to your vagina,
Yes.
right? But also we want you to also reintroduce you to you.
Yes.
You know? So as much as we're going to put that phone at our pussy, we also want you to put that phone in front of you.
Ah, connect the two pieces,
Exactly.
right? That's why I love the ritual around it,
Mm.
right?
Hmm.
If you can start associating, because what happens is for most of us, we disassociate. Again, I've used that word about 3 times during this whole conversation, but it's
Mm.
literally the truth. We rise above our heads, disconnect from the experience of what our bodies are going through. And that is called trauma, right? And I'm not saying that every experience is like that or that that is your truth. Again, I think it is important to say that that's not everybody's truth, but it is important for us to reconnect the two parts, to
Mhm.
be present in our body experiences. And so to do that, you have to step yourself in. And
Absolutely.
when we take these little steps where you start to uh, connect the idea of pleasure with, you know, worthiness and an event, just like we, say, oh, you know, I need to a little pick me up and a boost. I'm gonna go get my nails done, or something like that. It's
Mhm.
the same kind of idea. Oh, I need a pick me up and a boost. Let me go, pleasure myself a little piece. This is something that is accessible and cheap, girl. It's
Uh,
cheap. You can just
keep,
do it in
keep,
your
keep,
house,
keep. It's
right?
time.
Is good. You can bring lavish pillows in, anything that
Mm.
makes you feel
Smell, it
comfortable.
smells.
Oh, I have a
Mm.
ritual all around that. Taste, smell,
Mm.
bringing all your five sensations in. And
Mhm.
that's the ways that we can reconnect. And I offer that we do it for ourselves first. Like,
Mm.
there's also a lot of pressure we give on to our partners, right? Like, there's this one of like I'm always, it's so interesting because I do a lot of counseling of couples, especially couples that have been together for a while. And this is not nice, but one of my greatest pleasures is I normally get to tell men in particular that there's some work that is needed around their lovemaking skills. Because again, we have created a world where we have watched a lot of performative sex. We've watched a lot of porn. We've,
Corn, lots of
we,
corn.
oh yeah, corn, plenty of a lot of, stuff in this reality that
Mhm.
does not serve us.
Absolutely
and
not.
and because of that, especially most of it has been made for male gaze, they've become lazy. And I
Mm.
very often have to spend time bringing men back into their bodies as well, because a lot of people disconnect from the idea of pleasure. I loved when you mentioned, some of us squirt, but and some of us don't squirt, but we also don't recognize what even orgasm is. Some women have never had one, or maybe you have, but we don't understand that even in that, because we've watched corn, or we have read Harlequin romance
Yes,
novels. You
Arnica.
know?
Remember back in the day? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're real though. You're real.
Those
I
young
read
people would have no idea what Harlequin is. What
when right? Well, for you guys nowadays, you guys read a lot of the YA novels. You guys are reading. There's a lot of erotica out there. And a lot of the time, they talk about these mind-blowing,
mm,
explosive experiences, which also set us up for failure. Because not every woman experiences orgasm in that way. So you may be having an orgasm, but you don't even recognize you are. And I think that is also something that we don't talk enough about, that orgasms have different
levels.
vibes to them as well.
Mhm.
Sometimes they can be lower key, and that's okay. Everything is welcome.
Mhm.
Every expression of your pleasure is welcome, but you have to be open and in tune with yourself to be able to be okay with it.
Mhm.
And that's where that initial process starts to get
Mhm.
you to the point where you can open up for those higher
You
spaces.
want to get to the point of no return or
Yes.
return over and over.
Oh. Always remember the one thing about being feminine, and I say this a lot, we have 11,000. They just did a new study about a
It
year
went
ago.
up.
It went up, girl. There are 11,000 nerve endings in the clitoral
Oh
ridge.
my God. Okay, I was stuck at 8,000, but now it's 11,30. That's a lot.
11,000. I will send you the article. There is
Please.
11,000
Yes, send it to me.
nerve endings.
Oh my God. I really love when you and I get together to talk about feminine power,
Yeah.
because we are so powerful in every which way and in every word that we talk. But I feel that we're not leaning into that receiving mode and that relaxation mode, because we're always going on survival. We're always constantly going, going, going.
100%.
You know what? I've come to the realization, yes, a lot of single mothers are out there or was raised by a single mother. So the example is coming from somewhere.
Okay.
And I feel just like we need to stop one day and said, no, man, this don't feel good. Let's lean into that power. Because remember, it was a gift that was given to us from
Yes.
birth.
Yes.
So just let's lean into this receiving mode. Learn how to just say thank you if someone said you're gorgeous. Or just say thank you when somebody said, have a great day. There's nothing behind it. Even if it's
Mm.
something behind it for them, that's none of your business. It's none of your business. But we have become such a powerhouse. And I hear a lot of women saying, and I need to ask you this question, I don't need a man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good by myself.
Mm.
When you hear a woman saying something like that, like, "Me, I need nobody, I'm good by myself," what's your thought pattern on that?
I'm of mixed emotions.
Okay.
I believe for myself, I just recently came out of a relationship, and I am reforming my expectations and understanding of self and how I sit in this realm of my femininity. Because again, Donna, I think that one of the challenges that we have, I love what you precluded with when you came up with this question, because I think that a big challenge that we have, again, is that women have been taught not to center themselves. And so the way that that has shown up in relationships forces us to lose connection with the reality of ourselves. Many of us end up, as you mentioned, as single mothers. And first of all, even that dynamic, because I think what we're discussing here is patriarchy and the way that we support patriarchy. And you and I were originally having a bit of a conversation. I was talking to you about, my experience growing up with my parents and how I ended up very confused around this idea of patriarchy. And
Mhm.
yet my mother raised me to be this strong Black woman. You don't need no man, nothing. But yet I was still defined by the fact whether I had a man or
And they're
not.
not. Yes.
So you are still upholding the patriarchy and
Yes.
shaming us for not having this man. And if in fact, I think that women do need a moment to recognize the fallacy of it, really educate themselves on why we play and feed into this societal understanding of, you know, why we're feeling bitter right now, right? Because patriarchy doesn't serve men or women in fact, it definitely doesn't serve women, and it rarely serves the men, right? So most of us are trapped in this understanding and ideal of knowing and wanting a man in our lives. But we also have defined having that man in longevity. like that you're it's defined by, okay, you catch the man, but you must keep the man forever. And I think that's also a fallacy. Again, there is new anthropological studies being done. I will send you this one too.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
send me everything.
You know me. As I said, I go down the rabbit holes, girl. This one was
Ah,
fascinating to me, right? They were saying that you are very often we should be having almost three different relationships in our lives because,
you said it, I didn't. Anyways, go ahead.
right? Because, and I think about this even in our reality today, right? There's when you're early on in, you're in your 20s or your teenage years, you're driven by your hormones. And for women in particular, we are biologically, geared to breed. I'm using a very,
Mhm.
primal kind of word, but that's literally what that is. A lot of the times we think we're falling in love and it's endorphins, but it's your literal biological primal need to
The
breed.
run,
and
say run.
and you there are hormones and pheromones being put out that make you be attracted to a person that, woo, they are great breeding stock.
Mhm.
I like my first children's father, fine, gorgeous
Mhm.
man, I ain't gonna lie, you know who you are, but
Mhm.
trashed as a partner.
What we call
I,
it, community man.
the community man, everybody check my page out if you want to hear more about that. The community man, right? And he was gorgeous. I have beautiful children, but he was not partner material. And they are saying now that for most people, even when it comes to cheating, women don't necessarily cheat, but the desire may wane for their partner right after having children. Normally, within the first 7, 8 years, both partners are feeling a little restless. We may not cheat because society has told us we can't, but it's very often men will go out and do that because it's more societally acceptable. It's just not that we don't want to either.
Mhm.
It's just that we have the children and things. So that what they're beginning to recognize is that maybe by that time you're not necessarily, or you should stay partnered. You shouldn't necessarily stay partnered. It's about if you had somebody good to co-parent with, right? And then you would move on to maybe another partner, somebody else who, if you're still in prime, fertility years, where you may want to have another child with, and you guys co-partner. And then normally, once you hit after those childbearing ranges, that's the time where you're starting to look for a partner who you're coming from this mature space of your existence. You know a thing or two at our age range, right? We then also going through the hormonal changes, it shifts your desires and your needs, and not even necessarily just physical. There's a level of wisdom that you come into. There's a level of lived experience you now have. There's a level of, I ain't new to this now. I'm true to this stuff now. So I expect a certain level of reciprocation in this relationship. And it should be okay for us to say, I still care about you, Mr. or Mrs. or whoever you're partnered with. I care deeply, but I am no longer with you. We are no longer here together, right? You no longer meet my needs, right? My needs have changed,
You
is the
make
word.
it sound so easy.
Well, I wish it was.
I know, because there's been so much shame around women who have
Yes,
different babies' daddy. There's huge shame around that, you know?
absolutely.
And so even I was watching oh my God, I can't remember whatever thingy thing this on social media, Pop the Balloon.
Oh, yes.
I know it's trash, Was there
I love it too. Don't
yeah,
worry.
I know
I
I
love
don't necessarily love it, but I just want to see how
oh,
people's brain works or what their thought
100%.
pattern is because
Mhm.
most of them are young people. They're millenniums, like that they're
Yes.
young. So I want to see their thought patterns. And the biggest thing for these men is how many children do you have?
Yes.
Three. Just giving an example. How many baby daddies do you have? Three. Pop.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you? Well, you're easy. You're loose. Why do you have three children for three different men? You know what I mean? So that is they have no idea, nothing else about this person, but the simple fact that she has
Yes.
three children by three different babies, daddy, or three different men, it's huge for them.
100%. 100%.
But for me, I like what you said about, when relationship is ended, let it end.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Big and don't force being with that person just because society said, you're married to him, you have to stay with him through sickness, health, and in death. That's it.
Ah,
You know what I mean? I feel that people literally believe,
well,
you know,
we do.
yeah.
And I think we need to break that down a little bit.
Yes,
There
please.
is a
We only have
reason.
like 5 minutes, so just
Yep. I'm gonna really quickly. I think again, if anything, we may not get into that discussion deeply here, but here is what I would offer
number
to
two.
you
We're gonna have
is
a number two.
yes, we will do that. I'm always willing and welcome. We have to understand how patriarchy fields this capitalist system. And the reason why we are shamed is because of the fact that they need the worker bees. They need this to feed the capitalists. We need worker bees for capitalism in our society, but we also have to understand how the union of marriage or of partnership is the fundamental tax base. That's who gets taxed the most, right? That's where you get your money from.
So we're
And so,
numbers, or numbers,
so
a numbers game.
so they gatekeep this space. And I think that is a conversation on its own because it's very much tied in to why women are suppressed and the power of our wombs is real.
Mm,
We
mm,
control the GDP, women. That is why right now our fertility rights are
mm.
being taken from us
Yes,
because we literally control the way a country makes money by when we decide we're having babies or not.
wow.
Recognize that. That is a whole other conversation.
It is definitely a whole conversation. And with that, I am going to say, and I'm going to end this up. Carrie, thank you so much. But we have come to this place where we are so disconnected with our bodies because of how we were always taught.
Mm-hmm.
Every woman deserves to feel safe, seen
Mm-hmm.
in our sovereign body. Carrie, I just love everything, and I know I have to do a part two with you. But to come off of Carrie for 2 seconds, if this conversation resonate with you, share it with another woman who's ready to reclaim her sensual freedom. This is Sensual Rebirth, where as women we come together to build and rebirth and to become one with this body. Cheers.